Oh boy, time now for another exciting episode of Mr. Nailsin's Wednesday Comics. And we're going to take another look at the Hobgoblin story. So we looked at two issues of The Amazing Spider-Man that introduced the Hobgoblin and illustrated more to Spider-Man's continuing guilty conscience. And there is a logic to his thinking in that he was very much aware of all the secret hideouts. Not that he knew where all of them were, but he knew a few of Norman Osborn's Green Goblin equipment and whatnot was stored there. And since Osborn's, death, certainly at the time, there have been two new Green Goblins. The most obvious, immediate, was Harry Osborn, who had access to the equipment and everything. Then his crazy psychiatrist. Yeah, you need help with mental problems, but unfortunately, your doctor is crazier than you are. Yeah, well, it didn't work out that great. But anyway, so Barton Hamilton became the third Green Goblin. And why? Because there was all this equipment. Harry had under hypnosis told him where it all was. So, oh boy, he decided he'd be the next Green Goblin. So did all of that. After all that mess, and well, he didn't make it. And Harry Osborn kind of forgot everything, went back to sanitarium for a while, what have you, and then got his act together, and everything seemed fine. Well, as luck would have it, turns out there's still some old Green Goblin hideouts, and now a new guy has found it. The first guy was just some burglar, but he got rubbed out by this mysterious man who has taken on the identity of, no, not the fourth Green Goblin, but the Hobgoblin. And of course, Peter Parker is like, damn it, uh, maybe I should have uh, cleaned all these places out. Well, it's too late. So their first encounter, the guy, Hobgoblin nearly got his ass. Well, he did get his ass handed to him, but he managed to outfox Spider-Man, threatening others. The old thing villains are able to do is threaten the lives of innocents, and the superheroes gotta go save them and can't stop the villain as he makes his getaway, which the Hobgoblin did. But he's left wondering, how in the world was the Green Goblin able to stand up to Spider-Man for as long as he did? There must have been a secret. Of course, there was. And so the story now delves into that. This will be sort of, well, I guess I'll call the next video I do part 3, but I'm going to delve in and on this one. It's a two-part story between Amazing Spider-Man 244 and 245. And it's more of just taking full advantage of the ambiance of mystery and this sort of master planner type element of Hobgoblin here, as he's manipulating things and what have you. So it's an interesting take on it. It's not just another retread of previous Goblin stories. The Hobgoblin, not just the name and look, but takes on an identity all his own and all of that. And even when he's not really, well, he's there, but he's not in full force in these issues. And it's mostly Spider-Man trying to figure out what the hell's going on and all that sort of stuff. It still manages to cast quite the large shadow over it all and achieve a very powerful presence within the story. So there we go. The cover tells you what's up for Spider-Man now. It's been a few issues since the last time he's dealt with him. But there's the familiar pumpkin bomb. So you know something's going on with Hobgoblin. So it opens up. At this point in time, Spider-Man was in a relationship with Felicia Hardy, the Black Cat. She's been injured in this previous story that involved Dr. Octopus and all that, which will have its own ramifications later in their relationship and whatnot, and what Felicia does in order to maintain what she feels is a threat to her relationship with Spider-Man and wants to do it. So mostly that's what that is, dealing with all this. But it also gives her a nod that, oh, geez, he's really worried about this Hobgoblin person. So, he's talked about it and all that. It's also an issue where he decides he needs to take a break. And as far as I know, I don't know what they've done in recent years, if they ever had him go back. I know, I think he did get a teaching position or something, but at this point, he's decided to take a leave of absence, if you will, from graduate school. And so that's what this is about. And the process of resigning with it, or however you want to put it. And it's sort of a nod back to the early days of when Peter Parker first went to college, and it captured all the long lines and admission process that they had. Well, at least back in the good old days. I'm sure there's some amount of waiting now, even though everything's digital and whatnot. But at the time, yeah, this is what you did, even when you're trying to get out. So there's this and there's that, and his professor is upset with him. I'm very disappointed to see this and all that. And he's like, well, yeah, but I can't say the real reason is because I got to spend more time as Spider-Man and all that sort of thing. So off it goes. It leads to one thing after another. Mary Jane shows up. Oh no, what's this all about? But then, there's another problem. uh Break-ins, Osborn, Harry Osborn shows up, and he's with Liz Allen. Eventually they get married and all that good stuff. But it's like, hey, who's messing with Osborn stuff? Well, we know. So Spider-Man takes an interest, and he knows what this is about. So rats, the place is dark. D. Wolf, who was the police captain he used to work with, must have packed it in for the day. Nice of her to leave her window unlocked, though. Maybe I can just help myself to the info. Yeah, this stack of stuff on her desk looks promising. Muggings, assaults, car theft. There's a whole lot going on in the big city, and not all of it good. This is what I'm looking for. Meanwhile, just outside, why is there still light on in the captain's office? Just left hours ago. It sounds like someone's snooping around in there. All right, put your hands up. Guess I've been watching too many TV cop shows. Could have sworn I heard somebody in here, though. This is odd. According to the staff, the only thing taken from the Osborne Company offices were files on chemical storage, all the inventory reports for the last 6 years. Why would anyone want that stuff? Well, looks like I was just jumping to conclusions. Hobgoblin was looting Osborne Company properties to get the Green Goblin weaponry Norman Osborn had hidden there. I can't imagine why he'd want those old reports. Well, you're kind of forgetting an important element to the Green Goblin. So, and they're thinking, he said, hey, is everything all right? Yeah, it's fine. Then it says, the boys are taking fire at a robbery in progress at Pier 3. Hey, that's that old Osborne company. So Spider-Man, yeah, next stop. So here's a big shootout. He wants to know what this is all about. Gee, I wonder what it could be. So they're robbing a bunch of stuff. Spider-Man jumps in, of course, to put a stop to it. And they're no match for him, despite the fact that they outnumber him and everything. But he's whooping their asses and everything. And then suddenly there's this other guy sitting in the truck ready to drive away whatever they were looting. But even as Spider-Man strikes back, I was afraid this might happen. It's a good thing I came prepared. A very good thing. So he throws a bunch of bats at him. Wait a minute. Is this Batman? No, we know better than that. What the blazes? My spider sense buzz tells me there's danger coming, but these idiots are no problem, so it must be something else. Holy! Look out! Those things are sharp as razors. Those mechanical bats are the Hobgoblin's toys. I was right the first time. He is mixed up in this. And he's here. You, out of that truck. Huh? Oh, jeez. Oh. Sorry. Jeez. If I had any doubts, they're gone now. That's one of Hobgoblin's incinerary bombs. So it blows up, catches everything on fire. The timbers in this place are loaded with creosote. Between that and the chemicals here, we don't stand a chance. He's right. The warehouse will be a furnace in a matter of seconds. I can stick around and I can stick around and try to rescue these creeps, or I can stop the hobgoblin, but not both. Gee, what will Spider-Man do? Well, he'll put a spider tracer on the hobgoblin's truck. So that's what he does. So there you go. No one deserves to burn to death. Besides, I can always find the hobgoblin later. So there you go. Dink. And the guy takes off through the door. The police shoot at him, but it's a waste of time. Benson, get out at all points on that semi. The rest of you come with me. Oh my God! Cancel that last order. Oh, order. Since for the smoke eaters. What? No, send for the smoke eaters and the meat wagon. If anyone's alive in there, they won't be for long. Hey, Sarge, look. And of course, Spider-Man saved everybody. Now they can all go to jail. So anyway, the truck takes a little trip. Then, oh boy, it had a backup plan. So there's, a van in the background to do the old switcheroo. And then the guy gets away. Meanwhile, Spider-Man's looking for the truck. And of course, his Spidey bug is on the truck. So of course, he's going to chase it. The old spider senses picked up the electrical emissions from my tracer faster than a scout troop picking up poison ivy. Okay, Hobgoblin, this is the end of the line. Well, what is this? Some sort of robot gizmo. It's steering the machine. So, he came prepared. So it's just driving the truck until it runs into a street lamp. Yeah, I think it knows I'm here. So that's what it does. That makes twice the hobgoblin has gotten away from me. He's really figured out how to make the most use out of the Green Goblin's gear. But the goblin was crazy. There seems to be a perverse logic to the way Hobgoblin operates. I have a bad feeling that if I can't figure out what his game is, a lot of people might get hurt. Well, yeah. I mean, even his own henchman there, didn't really care. And it's only because Spider-Man was there. So, but that is the thing that the Hobgoblin is, well, he's not crazy yet. But he wasn't, out of his mind like the Green Goblin was. And he's a more serious criminal here. He just wants to exploit the equipment and inventions of Osborn. So, anywho, they get to talking about what they were doing. None of you have any idea what you were being paid to steal? That's right, man. The only dude we knew what was in those crates we loaded into the trucks the one who hired us, Lefty Donovan. And I hope you nail that, Louse. He would have left us all in there to die. Story's the same from all of them, Sarge. The only other break-in any of them were in on was this morning. None of them know the why or the wherefore. It's pretty obvious that this Donovan guy wanted a specific batch of chemicals that Osborn had stored here. But between the stolen reports and the fire damage, we may never know which chemical. This doesn't make any sense. I'm familiar with Lefty Donovan's record, and he's always been strictly small time. I never would have figured him for pulling off something this big. Lefty Donovan, eh? I have a name for you now, Mr. Hobgoblin. All I have to do is track you down. Hours later, at a recently rented summer house in a remote area of Long Island. See, there's the van, you know. So he pulls in, hidden electric eyes are tipped, automatic gates open to admit the heavily loaded van. How did it go, Donovan? Did you get the material? Piece of cake. I got the chemicals, and the rest of the boys took a dive, just like you planned. Spider-Man even showed up, just like you suspected he might. But I used the stuff you gave me, and I lost him. I wish I knew how you did it, sir. It's really quite simple, Donovan. Just a matter of getting to know your adversaries and planning how best to humble them. With the compounds you've secured for me, humbling Spider-Man will become even more of a piece of cake than it is now. Those chemicals will give me the full physical power which the original Green Goblin possessed. Oh my God, it's Hobgoblin! With such strength at my command, Spider-Man will be powerless to stop the Hobgoblin. So we see he's still recovering from their last fight. It really did a number on him. And so it deals with the problems that the two previous Green Goblins had that the original or didn't have that the original. Well, they had the problem the original Green Goblin didn't because he had super strength. He could go toe to toe with Spider-Man. And that's because of the chemical formula that started the whole thing that exploded in Norman Osborn's face. So, oh boy, that's a problem. So, Hobgoblin's the one that says, "Hey, I need to get me some of that stuff." So that's what he's up to. So Spider-Man is like, "Hey, why are they after these chemicals and stuff?" It's the stuff of the Green Goblin formula that he's going to want to make now. So that's the deal. As he sits behind and has this henchman take care of it, and then this continues in the following issue. In the meantime, the rest of this is Mary Jane and more. Boy, it took them a long time to get back to this later on, but they're already dropping things. Of course, she's still hung up on Peter, and they're sort of destined to be together and eventually get married. Only they had the whole thing retconned by Mephisto later on, you know. But that's a whole other story. So, anywho, there you go. That's how the goblins, the hobgoblins, doing at the moment. He's in bad shape, but he's gonna need some help from the Green Goblin supplies, which is basically uh, what's been going on here. All of Osborn's legacy, if you were, is integral to the plot of Hobgoblin. I mean, he makes use of it because of the devices and weapons and everything, the identity, and now the superpowers that he's pursuing. But also, it gets into other things that Norman Osborn was aware of that the Hobgoblin exploits as it go, which is sort of the first arc of the Hobgoblin narrative. And then it comes to a head right before the original Secret Wars. And then you're back into the mystery, wondering where he is and who he is and all this sort of thing that unfolds later. But it was a great run. It doesn't end well, sad to say, but it really had the potential to be, probably one of the best runs of Spider-Man since, his original run. But yeah, it does fall short. They try to fix it later, but and they do the best they can. But I think they went too long with it and needed to make a decision on how to conclude at least the mystery part of it. And then since then, well, Hobgoblin shows up every now and then as another, um, part of the Spider-Man Rogues gallery of villains. So we'll see how this experiment goes as its next step when I give you a tour of issue 245 of Amazing Spider-Man in the ongoing look back at the Hobgoblin story. But that'll have to wait for another episode of Mr. Nailsin's Wednesday Comics.